Welcome back to the Big Moment Podcast. My name is Austin Gallagher. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are going to be talking about the NFL 2020 playoff predictions. I'm here with my brother, Andrew Gallagher. Introduce yourself, Andrew.
Hi, how are y'all doing today? My name is Andrew Gallagher. I'm Austin's brother. Just here to help out.
And we're going to be talking about our predictions for this upcoming NFL season, which should be a very good season as many off-season transactions have been made. Don't really know what we're going to do about the Cowboys with Dak and Ezekiel Elliott as of now. Andrew Luck retiring, Kareem Hunt on the move, all that good stuff. OBJ in a new team, Antonio Brown's deal in Oakland. A bunch of teams in the NFC are going to be interesting this year. So we're going to run through our 1 through 6 seeding, how many wins they're going to actually win this year. And then we're going to go through our bracket, see who wins each game, see who we have our Super Bowl matchups. And me and Andrew actually have a current bet on our playoff system. We have a bunch of rules. You get points if they have a certain amount of wins and stuff like that. We currently have a $100 bet going on, which is going to be very intense. So we have sat down and we have done some research on these teams because we got $100 at stake. And, it's $100. Fantasy's coming up next week. We're just getting excited for this football season. So I'm going to go first and talk about my seeds 1 through 6, their wins, and just talk about some of the teams I have. So we're going to start off in the AFC. I have the number 1 seed going. Actually, we're going to start at the 6th seed. I have the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to win 9 games, which they're in a tough division this year. They have Pittsburgh. They have a Baltimore team that's up and coming. Lamar Jackson, we'll see what they do if teams neutralize them this year. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, which aren't going to do anything this year, I don't think. So that's going to be a very interesting division. I have them winning 9 games. Now I have the Chargers coming in at the second wildcard spot with 11 wins. They're going to be an exceptional team this year. Even though Melvin Gordon is doing his holdout till the end of the season, I don't know if he's going to sign. As of on September 2nd, he's not signed with them yet. So I made these predictions a while back knowing that I thought Melvin Gordon was going to sign. So I still stick at them at 11 wins. I think Phillip Rivers, Keenan Allen, and their defense is going to be solid. I have them at the wild card because they have Kansas City in their division. Then I have Pittsburgh coming at the 4 seed, winning the AFC North with 10 games in the win column. I just think Big Ben, Juju, and James Conner is going to have a good year. They have Baltimore and Cincinnati. Those are 4 easy dubs. Then maybe they split one with Cincinnati. That's 5 divisional wins, and then they win 5 other games, which I think the Steelers are going to have an exceptional year. At the 3 seed, I have my Houston Texans, which is my team from Houston, of course. I have them at winning 11 games in a AFC South that just got way easier with Andrew Luck retiring. So no longer the Colts are a threat. So I think we secure 5 to 6 division wins. Maybe split one between Tennessee or Jacksonville, but I don't see anyone stopping us in that division. And we have a pretty tough schedule. We actually have the 4th hardest schedule in the NFL, but I think with Deshaun Watson and arguably the best receiver in the league with DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller's hurt, but we just signed a running back that I feel like is going to be, he's going to produce some yards, and I feel like we got a good team with 11 wins, and our defense is solid. So at the 2 seed, I have New England winning 12 games. They have a tough schedule at the beginning of the year. I think they're going to lose some very close ones to some good teams, but again, they're in the one of the easiest divisions in NFL. So they're going to win their division like they always do, win 12 games, get the 2nd seed. Tom Brady's going to be Tom Brady, So they just re-signed Demaryius Thomas. It's another asset that they're going to have. I have Kansas City at the number 1 seed with 13 wins and 3 losses. They're going to run that division out there in the AFC West. Again, the Chargers are going to split that series, I think. But with Oakland and Denver, I feel like they're going to win two of those games that they play. Andrew, how about you do your AFC teams?
My AFC teams? Okay.
Yeah.
Starting at the bottom, the second wild card spot, I got Pittsburgh.
Really?
Pittsburgh, yes. I think Pittsburgh is going to go off this year in response to all the Antonio Brown nonsense. Big Ben's kind of humbled himself. He's kind of starting. He didn't need to bring it up again, but he did. And I just think they're going to take that some of that momentum that's just been building in there, and they're going to try to prove that, okay, these two players want to leave and cause a scheme, but we're still going to hold our own in the AFC North. I have them winning 9 games. And then in the first wild card slot at the 5 seed, I have Oakland. Now, this is a big call.
Wow, you have Oakland in the playoffs.
I have Oakland in the playoffs. I think adding Antonio Brown to already a growing offense is going to be exponentially beneficial to John Gruden. And John Gruden's a hell of a coach. He coached the Raiders before, and the Raiders that he coached came to the Super Bowl the year after he left. Not a lot of people know that. That's who Tampa Bay played.
Yep.
Was his own Raiders that he coached. I think they have a good chance. They also picked up a lot of good rookies and draft picks like Hunter Renfrow. I think they got 9 wins this year.
Okay.
All right. Winning the AFC North in the 4th seed, I have Cleveland.
You have Cleveland. So you have Pittsburgh missing the playoffs.
No.
Oh, no, you had Pittsburgh at 6.
I got Pittsburgh at the wild card.
Okay, so you got Cleveland winning the division.
I've got Cleveland winning the division with 9 games. It's going to be close between them and Pittsburgh.
So you think Pittsburgh's going to hold that, or the Cleveland's going to have the tiebreaker?
Yeah, they're going to have the tiebreaker for the division.
Wow, okay.
I think it's going to come down. They're both going to be 9-7, but Cleveland is going to beat Pittsburgh one more time.
Okay.
In one of those games. You know, they've got Baker Mayfield. They're going to have Kareem Hunt in Week 8. They've got Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. I mean, do I need to go on? They're an up-and-coming franchise.
Okay, so the hype is real on the Browns.
The hype is real on the Browns. And they may be off to a rough start. They may start out 1-3, but I think in the heart of the season, they're going to be on a 4 or 5 stretch where they're 3-2, 4-1, possibly 5-1, and they're going to surprise some people.
Okay.
And come in clutch late.
Okay.
In the 3 seed, I've got, of course, my team, the Houston Texans, as well.
Yeah.
I think the AFC South, like you said, just got a lot easier in recent weeks and recent days, actually. I hate to brag, but I think we pretty much got it in the bag, the AFC South.
I'm with you on that one.
We're going back-to-back AFC or division champs because Bill O'Brien's trying to hold on to his job. He's trying to grind hard. We've got some good talent now. We've had some solid draft picks the last 2 years. Picked up some good offensive line in the last couple of days with the Clowney trade. And even though Lamar Miller's hurt, I know whoever they put in is going to have some pretty good rushing this year.
Okay.
And we've got Watson and Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins is top 2, top 3 receivers at least. And Watson's, if he stays healthy, he's going to help us a lot.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
All right. And in the 2 seed, with 11 wins, I have New England winning the East.
New England.
I think the only reason I have them winning 11, not 12, is I think that they're going to lose a game to the Jets this year. Because they're not going to have Gronk.
So you think the Jets are going to pull off a win?
I think the Jets are going to pull off a win because Sam Darnold's on the come-up.
Okay. He's
a year in now. He's more stable. They made some good moves. They've got Le'Veon Bell now. And the Jets are probably – I say the Jets are going to win 7 games, 6, 7 games. They're going to go 7-9.
Okay.
Be first or second out of the wild card spot. But, yeah. New England's going to win one of those matchups, but they're going to wrap up the East like they always do. They've got Brady, the GOAT, Belichick, the best coach, Edelman, solid receiver. They just re-signed Demaryius Thomas, like you said, and they're in a little bit of a weaker division. In the grand scheme of things, they're going to wrap up the NFC or the AFC East.
Okay.
And in my number 1, I've got Kansas City.
Kansas City.
I don't think Mahomes has another MVP year. I don't think he repeats his MVPs, but he's damn close. Last year he threw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. 11 interceptions. I don't think he hits 50 this year. I say he throws 42, 43, and keeps Kansas City in it. But I think they win. They go into the playoffs with the number 1 spot with 13 wins.
13 wins. So you have Kansas City at the number 1, just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
New England at the 2, just like I do. You have Texans at the 3, like I do. But that's where our bottom 3 is mixed up a little bit. You have Cleveland at the 4, Pittsburgh at the 6, and you think Oakland sneaking in instead of I have the Chargers. I have the Chargers sneaking in.
I have faith in John Gruden.
Okay. And another thing on this bet that me and Andrew have, we get 1 change after Week 9. So once the Week 9 plays, which is officially the halfway point of the season, everyone's going to play at least 8 games by then. Some 9, depending on their bye week. And me and Andrew get one change per conference. So in the AFC, we get to change seeding. We get to swap teams if we think, just in case if say the Chiefs only win 4 games out of 8, we can swap per conference. So one in the NFC and one in the AFC. Me and Andrew agreed on that because I think predicting a 17-week season is pretty hard. So I feel like one change isn't that bad. It's actually funny. I had the Colts in that 6 seed before Andrew Luck retired, and so now I had to change my thing, which Andrew allowed. So that was really interesting. Now we're going to go to the NFC, which I think is going to be a complete battle for that title this year because the NFC, I think, is on the come up.
Oh, they're more stacked than they've ever been.
Right. I think the NFC this year is going to be very competitive. Back-to-back wins in the NFC this year are going to be very hard to come by. And I'm going to start off with my 6th seed. I have the Seahawks making it at the 6th seed with 9 wins, which in the NFC West, it's a very competitive division with Jimmy Garoppolo starting this year. I know he was hurt last year, but I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. You have the Rams, of course, that are always dominant. And then you have the why can't I think of the 4th team? The Cardinals, Arizona with Kyler Murray. Which I'm not so sold on the Kyler Murray train yet. I think him and Cliff Kingsbury are going to win, 6 or 7 games this year, which isn't bad. But they're not going to be in playoff. I have Seahawks at 9. They're going to be the wild card. They're going to win some crucial games towards the end to get in. 5th seed, I have the Eagles at only 9 wins, which is a very low, I think. But I just feel like there's something about the Cowboys this season that I think Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, when they finally reach terms, are going to prove to Jerry Jones that they're worth the money that they demanded for. And if Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott can get on board and show what they're worth, I think that team is going to be awesome. They have one of the best O-lines in the NFL for the past 4 or 5 years. They have a good defense. I wouldn't say it's a very exceptional defense, but it's a very good defense. I have the Eagles at the first wild card spot at 9 wins. In the NFC North, I have Chicago at the 4th seed with 10 wins. I think they're one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. They have one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the league. Last year they had the 3rd best defense, and they only allowed, I think it was 17.5 points per game, which is absolutely insane for the NFL. They have a pretty easy division, so I have them winning 10 games. Trubisky is an average quarterback, the most average you can get. But I think that defense holds some teams to some points, and I have Chicago at the 4th seed. Again, I was talking about the Cowboys at the 3 seed with 10 wins. They have an easy schedule towards the beginning. It gets rough in the middle, and then easy towards the end. So after the first 4 games, even if Ezekiel Elliott doesn't play, I feel like they still can be 3-1, maybe 4-0. With those easy first 4 games, winning 10 games is going to be very hard in the NFC East this year because it's a very competitive division, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott thing goes on. If Jerry Jones is going to cave, is Ezekiel Elliott finally going to cave? We'll see. Number 2, I have the Saints on a comeback season. They're hunting for the chip this year. I have them at 13 wins because again, they're in a okay division. The NFC South's a very okay. They have Matt Ryan in Atlanta, but they have Carolina and Tampa Bay, which I don't know what I'm going to see out of Cam Newton this year. Is he going to be an MVP caliber guy like he once was, or is he going to be an average guy that gets hurt on week 4? I don't really know. And Tampa Bay is just a mess down there. What is Winston going to do? I don't really know what's going to go down there. I think that's 4 easy dubs for the Saints, and then they split one with the Falcons because you have to respect the Falcons with Julio and Matt Ryan. Then number 1 seed, I have the Rams. I think they're the hottest team in football right now. They have a young Jared Goff that showed a lot of potential last year. Couldn't perform in the Super Bowl like he wanted to, but he's young. They have one of the best running backs in the league with Todd Gurley. I think he's healthy this year. They have Cooper Kupp, a great receiver, and then they have an exceptional defense. I think they're going to just roll through the regular season with 13 wins. In their division, they'll split one with the Seahawks, but they'll beat the 49ers, and they'll beat the Arizona Cardinals like that. So that's my 1 through 6. Andrew, go ahead and take it away for your NFC top 6.
Like you said, the NFC is going to be absolutely nuts this year. It's going to be hectic. Anyway, with my number 6 seed, the second wild card spot, I actually have Philadelphia.
Really?
I have them sneaking the wild card because I just think, like you said, the NFC East is going to be so much tougher this year. You've got Adrian Peterson and Case Keenum, who has been slept on his entire life in Washington. The Giants, Eli's going to probably put up his best numbers this year than he has in the last 5 or 6 years just because he knows his job's on the line. Okay. It's going to be like Alex Smith's last year in Kansas City. They did pretty well that year. He threw for like just over 4,000 yards, something like that year. And it's going to be tough to win NFC games. So I have them at the 6. At the 5, this may come to a shock to some people, but I actually have Green Bay at the 5.
Packers. I'm not fully sold on the Aaron Rodgers thing. People say he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just haven't seen it in the past few years. He once was back in 11 and 10.
That's why I have them here at the 5. This year they got a new head coach. Things are turning around for them. I think they, like you said, they're kind of in a weaker division with Detroit and Minnesota as who they got to play. They'll win both those series probably 2-0. They'll split one with the Bears, but I think the Bears are going to win that division. But Green Bay, I think, sneaks in the playoffs at number 5. I think Aaron Rodgers is on a redemption year. If he stays healthy, he's going to have a full year under his belt. Him and the head coach may bob heads a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to give power to Rodgers and just say, hey, Aaron, you run the offense. You can do it. And they surprise everybody.
That's a sleeper pick in the NFC that I would not be surprised that happens.
Yeah.
That the Packers sneak in the playoffs. Yeah, okay.
At the 4 seed, winning the NFC East, I have the boys.
The boys, okay.
The boys. I think with Tony Pollard in their backfield, they're going to be pretty good. Like you said, the first 4 games. I think they go 3-1. First 4 games.
Same here. That's my prediction. 3-1, and then Ezekiel finally comes back.
Washington and New York is who they open up against.
Yep.
They're going to win those 2 games. And they're going to sign Dak. Dak's up on the rise. He's shown great potential in the past. He just never really had any targets, and they signed Amari Cooper late last year, and with him there, Amari Cooper there, they went 8-2 to end out the season. So I think a full season together, a full off season together, they'll be more on point. I have them winning 10 games and winning the NFC East.
Okay.
Winning the NFC North, I have Chicago, the Bears. Like you said, I think they are one of the most underrated teams going into 2019. They looked so good in that playoff game against the Eagles. They just came up short and they whiffed the kick. But they did sign a new kicker. They're in a little bit of a weaker division. Like I said, against Detroit and Minnesota, they're going to sweep those teams. They possibly could sweep the Packers, but I think they'll slip one to Aaron Rodgers and the Pack. But like you said, Mitch Trubisky, he's by number 14, 15 in the league right now. Like he's just your middle of the pack guy, solid when needed to be, but also can make a mistake. They have Cordell Patterson too, solid wide receiving core, and a new running back, Tyreek Cohen. Definitely should not be slept on in Chicago. I have them winning 11 wins and wrapping up the North. In the West, I have the Rams, like you said, at the 2 seed. They're the hottest team right now. They didn't perform as bad as people think they did in the Super Bowl. They held New England to 13 points.
That's true.
That's something to be said.
That's true. They held Tom Brady's offense to 13 points.
The year after Tom Brady throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, or 6 touchdowns, I believe, in the Super Bowl.
That's true. And I want to get your opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think on the Super Bowl? Was it a terrible game or was it a great game? Because me and you both played football at a high level. I think, personally, it was an exceptional game. It was a great game strategically. If you think of Belichick and you think of McVay on how they stopped each other's offenses.
I think it gave McVay a definite pat on the back. Because
Definitely.
even though he's what, 36, 37?
He's a young coach,
he's a young head coach.
One of the youngest coaches in the league.
And having that under his belt, knowing that he went up against the best and only lost to them by 10 points. Only gave up one touchdown to the GOATs. The best quarterback and the best coach of all time on that stage with his team. I think that's something to be said.
Yep.
So I have them at the number 2, winning 13 wins. And then in the number 1 spot, I got my boys from New Orleans, the 504, the Saints. Saints all the way this year.
13 wins or 14?
I have them at 13
wins.
13,
all right.
I think the Saints. Do the Saints and Rams play this year together? Do they play against each other?
They do not play in the regular season.
They don't. I thought they did. But anyway, I got the Saints at 1, and here's why. They've got a stacked offense. They've got Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Josh Hill as their tight end. Like that's your running back, receiver, tight end. They can hit you anywhere and they can make it hurt. These past two seasons, 2017 and 2018 have ended in heartbreak for the Saints.
Oh, I just cannot believe the Saints.
In 2017, they had the Minnesota Miracle from Keenum to Stephon Diggs.
God, I remember watching that.
I remember watching that live.
I was on an airplane.
Because the Saints were on a roll that game. And last year, the non-PI call with LA.
Oh,
people can talk about this all day long, whether it was called or not. I think it should have been called, in my honest opinion.
It's a PI call. It's a pass interference to any football.
Just think
guru.
That call could have changed the game. It could have not. You never know. But I think with those two heartbreaking endings, they're going to have some fuel to the fire this year, and they're finally finalizing a solid offense, and they have a strong defense. So I picked them to wrap up the NFC at the number 1.
Last thing on that game. Yes, it was a penalty, 100%, not even close. It was a PI call. But they had another chance in overtime, and they didn't capitalize on that other chance.
And you're right about that.
So I think given that other opportunity and they didn't capitalize, I think they lost the game. They got what they deserved. They lost the game. It was a PI call, and they should have gotten first and goal. It's not even close. But they were given another chance in overtime and didn't capitalize it, and then the Rams ended up. So it is what it is. So that was Andrew's NFC 1 through 6. So now we're going to switch to our brackets, which will be on screen now. This is my bracket. We're going to go my bracket, then Andrew's bracket, just to be easier.
Round by
round. So I have the wild card round. I have Steelers and Chargers matching up, and Texans and Cleveland matching up. I have Steelers winning a close game in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a field goal. It's going to be a 31-27 game or a 27-24 type of game. It's going to be very close. 2 legendary quarterbacks, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at it. Steelers get the edge. They win in a close, tight game. Then I have the Texans, Cleveland, in Houston. There's no way Baker Mayfield's coming into Houston and beating the Texans. I just don't think it's going to happen. Texas win by a touchdown. I think it's a 28-21 victory, 35-28 victory, something like that. That's the AFC wild card. Then I would go to the NFC. Bears, Eagles. I think the Eagles win again in a very close game. The Bears, I want to pick them because they're a very underrated team, but I just think Carson Wentz this year is going to have a year in the playoffs. Eagles win by a field goal. I got them 27-24. And then I have Dallas and Seattle, which I think is going to be a very interesting game because Russell Wilson, if he gets to the playoffs, I feel like he's going to be a monster in the playoffs. But if Dallas gets the 3 seed, they're going to be a monster. Dallas wins by a touchdown, and I just have a feeling that there's going to be some crazy play in that game that's going to cost it, just like last year with the Saints. It's going to be some crazy game-defying play or something. I have Dallas winning in a touchdown, probably 28-21. It's going to be a very, very close game. Now, this is Andrew's bracket. Andrew's going to take you through his wildcard predictions.
All right, we're going to start in the AFC. At the 4 seed, I've got Cleveland versus the 5 seed Oakland Raiders. It's no question. I think the Browns are definitely more of a playoff team than the Raiders are in this matchup, so I'm picking Cleveland over the Raiders. And then down on the other side of the bracket, I've got the 3 seed Texans versus the 6 seed Steelers. And I think this is going to be a closer game. I have the Texans winning. They have the higher seed, so it'll be in Houston. It'll probably be like a 24-21 victory, maybe 24-17, something like that. I think it's a close game, but Houston escapes. Then in the NFC, at the 4 seed, I've got Dallas versus the 5 seed Green Bay. I think the boys take the revenge match against Aaron Rodgers in the first round because they were hot that year. Was it 2016?
2016, I think
they
it
were
was.
14-2, and they lost on the Hail Mary throw to Aaron Rodgers. So I think they bring it to him first round. The boys win. And on the other side, I've got the 3 seed Chicago versus the 6 seed Philly. The Eagles win, man. The Eagles are flying. They're not losing to Chicago in the playoffs. They don't have Nick Foles. Hopefully they're going to have a full season of healthy Carson Wentz under his belt. They're going to go steamrolling into the playoffs.
Okay. So that's his first round. Now, on screen, it's going to be mine bracket again. Now we're going to go the divisional round. I have Steelers versus number 1 Kansas City. Again, I think it's a good game, but I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to be an all-star this year. And I have them beating the Steelers by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. Probably 31-21. I think that's going to be the score of that game. Kansas City winning. I think Big Ben is probably in his last year, maybe 2. I think this playoff run, he loses to the Chiefs. I think he hangs it up. He's had an incredible career. Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he ends it after he loses to the Chiefs. And then I have New England and the Texans, which I want to pick my Texans because they're my team, but I got to go on all reality. There's no way the Texans are going to go up to Foxborough and beat them in Foxborough. We've actually never done it before in our 17 years of existence. We've never gone to Foxborough and won. So history is gonna repeat itself. We're gonna go to New England. We're probably gonna fight hard. It's gonna be a 7-point, 3-point victory by New England, but it's Tom Brady, and yeah. So I have New England beating the Texans in a very close game. Now to the NFC divisional round, Eagles Rams. Now this is gonna surprise a lot of people. I have the Eagles upsetting the Rams in LA. Causing chaos. Just causing chaos.
That is a bold strategy.
It's going to be on a game-winning field goal. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be 20. It's going to be 24-24 with 3 or 4 seconds to go, and the Eagles are going to kick a game-winning field goal to win it and devastate the Rams. I don't know why. That's my upset of the year. Is going to be Eagles Rams in the divisional round.
Wow. Okay.
Which is a bold strategy, but then I have Saints and Dallas, which. There's no way the Saints are going to let Dallas beat them. If Dallas beats the Saints, they will never hear it for the end of time. They'll never hear it off. So I think Saints win in New Orleans in a close, nitty-gritty game. Drew Brees has an exceptional game, I feel like. That one's going to be like a 31-27 victory, maybe 35-31 victory. Yeah, that's my divisional round. Now back on screen is Andrew's bracket, and he's going to do his divisional predictions.
All right, now from here on out, our brackets are pretty much the same, except for there's one big change, and we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But, starting things off in the AFC, I've got the Browns versus the number 1 seed Chiefs. Obviously, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a mildly high-scoring game. I say 42-24, something like that. I think they both have high-powered offenses. I just think Kansas City will definitely put up bigger numbers against Mayfield and the Browns. So I have Kansas City winning that one. Then I have the Texans and the Patriots. And like you said, we've never gone to Foxborough and beat them. But I think it's going to be close this year. I think we give them hell. I think it's 28-27, something like that. 28-27, Patriots get the win in Foxborough. I think we give them hell, but we still lose.
Okay.
Just because we're the Texans, we can't get out of the second round to save our life.
That's true.
Anyway, in the NFC, on the other side of the bracket, I've got the Cowboys against the Saints. No questions. Saints are going to win that. I say 35-14, something like that. Then I'm calling that big. That's a big win for the Saints. But, yeah. Saints are going to tear apart the boys second round.
So what are your conference championships?
I'm not done yet.
Oh.
I've got another side of the bracket to go.
Okay.
I've got Philadelphia against the Rams. And this is where I take things in the opposite direction. I have the Rams beating Philly.
You got them winning?
Yeah. No questions asked. I'm kind of shook, honestly. You have the Eagles beating them.
It's the upset of the year. There's one upset every year. It's got to be the upset of the year.
Rams, they're back for revenge. They're a year stronger, a year wiser. They're looking to make things interesting in the playoffs. So I have them. I have my conference championships in the AFC is Chiefs, Patriots, and then the NFC, Saints and Rams. So yeah, we're the same.
Okay, that's basically the same almost. I have the Eagles winning.
Oh yeah, the Eagles.
But okay, that's a very interesting side of the bracket. Now we have the final bracket listed up here. It's going to be the conference championships and the Super Bowl predictions. So, AFC, I have Kansas City versus New England. Kansas City wins the game. Patrick Mahomes has an amazing game and just stuns Tom Brady in Kansas City because they're going to be the number 1 seed. Kansas City, I'm going to guess the score. It's going to be a high-scoring game, I feel like. It's going to be a 37-35, 37-33 victory, something like that. Then on the NFC side, Eagles-Saints. I think the Saints win. I think the Saints go to the Super Bowl once and for all. I just think they've had a crappy luck in the past few seasons with the Minnesota Miracle and then whatever happened last year. Drew Brees is not going to go out of the league without one more Super Bowl. So I got Saints, Kansas City at the matchup in the Super Bowl, which is going to be an absolutely crazy Super Bowl, having Drew Brees versus Patrick Mahomes, old versus young, 2 offenses that are hot, that are going to be hot, 2 defenses that are decent. They're not great, but they're decent, and I think it's just going to be one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in a while. I got Kansas City winning in a very, 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 very tight game. It's going to come down to the last drive. I think Patrick Mahomes has one of his years again, and I have Kansas City winning. We picked an over-under number of 31, and I have the over on that. I think there's going to be more than 31 points combined scored in that game. And, yeah, I have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, which is a pretty bold pick, but I think I have a pretty good chance of that actually happening. It's hard to bet against New England and Tom Brady, but I think this is the year where Tom Brady just hangs his hat up and calls it quits. 6 rings, goes to the Super Bowl 10 times after this year. 6 of 10. That's a pretty damn good stretch in his 19-year career, 20-year career. So, yeah, that's my winner, Andrew. What about yours?
Gosh, that's very interesting, Austin.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of similar. In the AFC Championship, I've got the Chiefs beating the Patriots, the nail biter.
Yeah.
Kansas City, it's going to come down to a fumble review, a call, a flag, a clutch first down at the end. But Kansas City's going to get it this year. They're going to get that redemption and move on to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
In the NFC, Saints and Rams, I think the Saints upset the Rams. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think it's like 24-10, something like that. They win by a significant margin.
Okay.
I think they win. I think they win by 8 or 10.
Okay.
Against the Rams in the NFC Championship, and they go to the Super Bowl. And in the Super Bowl, my Super Bowl matchup is Kansas City, New Orleans, and I gotta take my boys, the New Orleans.
New Orleans Saints.
They're winning it. Breeze is going to retire. Michael Thomas is
Des Bryant's finally going to get his chip.
Des Bryant's finally going to get a chip. Sean Payton's going to retire. They're just going to go out together as one of the greatest coaches.
New Orleans is going to be a shit show if
they're
going to
tear up New Orleans.
God.
And God, Lord help the people of Bourbon Street. But yeah, I've got the Aints winning. The
Aints winning it. Wow. So yeah, that's our NFL playoff predictions. Now we're going to tag this at the end of the video real fast. Who wins in it? Who wins AFC MVP and NFC MVP? Who's the most valuable player in the AFC?
Probably Mahomes. NFC.
I got Brady. I got Brady winning it this year in the regular season.
The MVP? You think he wins MVP?
Yeah, I think he does.
I can see
MVP's a regular season
I
thing.
can see Wentz winning NFC.
Wentz
MVP.
NFC?
Yeah. Or Breeze.
Who do I have in the NFC? I think Drew Brees wins it this year in the NFC. All right, that is our NFL 2019-2020 playoff predictions. I have the Chiefs winning it. Andrew has the Saints winning it. Should be a very interesting NFL season. I'm actually very excited for the season. I don't watch NFL that much, but after the last 2 seasons of watching just a craziness of what's happened, I feel like this season is just going to shock some people. One last thing that I just came up with. Who is your sleeper team that is going to do better than you think that everyone thinks is going to do? Who is your team that we may project to be crappy now that you could see being a 10-win team?
Ooh, that's tough.
For both conferences.
I honestly want to say possibly Baltimore.
You have Baltimore? Okay.
Possibly.
Baltimore in the NFC?
I would say Baltimore in the AFC. NFC.
Or AFC.
10-win team.
A team that you don't think could win 10 games. Or a lot of people don't think, but you think they could. They could. Not
Possibly
saying
Carolina.
Carolina.
Cam Newton has a solid
Cam Newton has a solid year. That's a too solid.
Or like you said, Seattle. Seattle has the potential to do it.
My AFC sleeper team, which is a sleeper team that I just feel like if they get it clicking, could go for it. I have the Denver Broncos being a sleeper team.
Really? You think they?
I know they're in it.
They get through Kansas City, Oakland, the Chargers.
They are in a tough division. I understand that they are in a.
Wow.
They're in the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Raiders division, which is a tough division this year because all three teams are going to be good. But I feel like Joe Flacco has has a little chip on his shoulder after being booted out of Baltimore.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. I'm completely sure.
That's my sleeper team this year for the AFC.
I don't think Denver's going to win more than 6, maybe 7 games.
And in the NFC, I have the New York Jets as a sleeper team.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Le'Veon Bell, if he's back to what he was,
I can see that.
And Sam Darnold, if he's exceptional, like a lot of people think he is.
I think the Jets win 8 or 9.
The Jets win a solid 500. They go 500, maybe one above 500.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting this year. Thanks for joining the Big Moment Podcast. I'm Austin Gallagher. This is Andrew.
And possibly sometime later next week, we're going to be uploading a video we're going to rank all the quarterbacks in the NFL 1 through 32.
1 through 32, and we're going to explain each of our lists and be more than welcome to comment on it. But thanks for joining us.
Subscribe, y'all.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the podcast. Peace out.
Appreciate it.